Shoot 'em ups are a very popular genre with regards to arcade games. Many an arcade has been filled with a lot of players spending hard-earned money, putting hours, days, weeks even, trying to get the highest scores and trying to complete these games. So it would be inevitable for these titles to eventually be ported to home systems. And there's so many to choose from that date back to the early days of gaming itself that the list is pretty much just endless to that degree. And the PlayStation is no exception to that rule, as the console itself saw a boatload of shoot 'em ups that come in a variety of different sources, from 3D, original 2D style shoot 'em ups, side-scrolling shoot 'em ups, even with the likes of rail shooters. There's so many unique games and concepts on the system that you really have a pick of the bunch in terms of what you want to play. Now, these type of games will appeal to a distinct type of player, but for those that like arcade games will be right at home here. And Night Raid, that was released for the PlayStation in 2001, which is a port of an arcade shoot 'em up, a popular one at that, and it would also be the fourth game developed by a company known as Takumi in Japan, is often considered as one of the most popular shoot 'em ups of that time, and even on the PlayStation itself in Japan. Even though outside of Japan very little is known about the game and very few people even know about the game in general, but it is a very, very popular shoot 'em up. So with this version of the game, it gives you access to a ship with unique abilities that you can acquire, weapon upgrades and special moves that you can use to obliterate anything on screen. But the more power-ups you find, you can use them to increase your weapons abilities to do a lot more damage to all of the enemies that appear on screen, even the multitude of bosses that appear. What's really cool about this is, even though like it plays from a top-down 2D kind of perspective, a lot of the graphics with the enemies and some of the environmental features are in 3D, but then there's also elements of 2D style variants in the game as well. So it definitely is a good mix-up of the balance of the visual style, and it definitely will suit fans of this genre right down to a T. But as in with any of these games, there's so much going on because the nature of these games is extremely fast-paced, because there's bullets and rockets and explosions happening every couple of seconds. So much to a point that for a casual player coming in, it can be completely and extremely overwhelming. But for those that are familiar with these type of games and that have some customization to them, will feel that they can at least get the most out of it or enjoy it to some degree. Now, it's not to say that these games are easy. These games are tough, but they are enjoyable. Now, I myself have enjoyed playing these games, even going back to the early days when I owned a Sega Master System growing up. I would have played quite a few of these games even on that system, on the Sega Mega Drive. I even played a few of them in arcades, and I did play and have played quite a few of them on the PlayStation, and even more so in recent years since starting this channel, as I've been able to find and experience a lot more of them. It's really insane to think that the console has an insane amount of these games, all with different categories, different play styles. You have this, you have Einhander, there's loads of different types of games. Mobile Light Force is another one that I can think of. There's just so many that I can't even think of them all at the top of my head, but you can clearly see why they're so popular, because there's so many of them that have been released, and not just on the PlayStation. There was tons of these games released on the Sega Saturn, the Dreamcast, even the PlayStation 2 has a boatload of them as well, and many of them would be ports of some of these games but just put into like compilations. So even though you'd be thinking to yourself, like with modern systems, you'd be wondering to yourself, why would you not just concentrate on more modern graphics styles? And that is a valid point, but the thing is, a lot of people just like these older style games, or this unique style that these shoot 'em ups bring, as they're very distinctive in their qualities and what they're trying to do, and they don't have to be extremely detailed for them to be worthwhile and playable and enjoyable mostly. So having spent time playing this here, yes, it is tough, but I have to say now, it is actually a really, really good game, and I can understand why people that have played it hold it in such high regard. There's a lot of frantic, fast-paced elements to this game that definitely will keep you on your toes, as there is a lot going on the screen at any one time. You always have to be aware of your surroundings, because any wrong move and you can literally lose everything. But that's just the fun dynamic of these games. They are for that type of player. They're not for everybody, I will admit that, but they definitely are for fans of these styles, or that want something that's a bit more fast-paced and frantic, or that genuinely just love arcade games. You definitely will feel right at home here. But I would love to know your thoughts of Night Raid for the PlayStation, if you have played this game yourself, and what do you think of it overall? Did you enjoy it, or did you even know anything about the game when it was released back in the day? And do you enjoy these type of arcade shoot 'em ups in general? And what other types of games like this that were released on the PlayStation did you also play and enjoy? So be sure to share it down in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be updated of future content. And if you would like to see more videos around many of the other games like this that were also released on the PlayStation, even other games that I have covered on the channel previously, then check out the playlist on screen to see more of those games in action. And as always, keep those gaming memories alive.